My name is Elaine Palmer Bodwell. I was born in Exeter, New Hampshire, May 5th, 1949, and I resided in Kensington on Route 150, the very sharp corner. There's three houses in a row. My grandparents owned all three, D. Everett Palmer and Beatrice Palmer. And we lived in the middle house. And I remember my grandfather had a small barn with about 25 head of milking cows. And I remember going out and watching him in the barn, milking them by hand. And he used to do the chickens, the killing of the chickens and plucking of the, and I remember as a little girl just seeing the chicken hanging and dipping hot water. And it's like, oh, my grandparents were a big part of my life. My father was Horace Everett Palmer, Beatrice's and Everett's son. He was the oldest of the siblings, and then they had two daughters, my two aunts, who one resides in Glens Falls, New York, and my other aunt is deceased. Growing up, my dad was, he was in the Merchant Marines, but he was home most of the time. He worked on like a electrical barge in Portsmouth for the Navy Yard. And I was very young, but I remember lobster, which is a real delicacy and I really love still, was a very common meal in our house because he was down in the shipyard and he and his friends would maybe get lobsters in the dark of the night. So as a child, I remember we sort of had a small farm there, complex, and my father had this big workhorse, Big Red. And it's a picture of my sister and brother and I, all three of us sitting on the horse. And I remember, I remember just sitting on the horse and he'd walk the horse around. And we just had a good time, playing. Played a lot outside, no fancy games or technical type of phones or computers or anything like that. So my mom bought some property over on Wild Pasture Road so that she would have some sort of collateral. And but I remember my dad very much from probably just stories or reminding me of it. But he was in and out of Mass General for a long time. And he passed away when I was 7. But I remember just fun things with him, like the horse and doing things and just silly little things, like he'd go off and he'd be home and my mom would be going to a PTA meeting, and our house, the middle house, you could go upstairs from the kitchen but come down in the living room. So it was a really nice house. I'd like to actually have it now, but the people have done a nice job with it. I remember my sister and I were running around and I came down the stairs leading to the living room, and my father said, stop, told us to stop running around. And he kind of we didn't obey. And he gave me a kind of little swat on the bottom. And I remember sitting on the stairs, and I was probably all of 5 or 6, saying, ha ha, Mommy can hit harder than you can.